There's no book like Starship Troopers by Robert Heinlein, not even among the hundreds it's influenced. There'd be no Ender's Game without it, no Halo, and probably no Star Wars. It is more than the foundation of military science fiction. It is one of the most significant philosophical novels of the 20th century. So significant, it's been said the whole political strand in science fiction can be described as a dialogue with Heinlein. The story is a thinly veiled analogy of the Korean War, set 700 years in the future, in a society which has abandoned all racial and gender prejudice. Johnny Rico is an American soldier, equipped with futuristic armor and deployed to cull giant bugs on an alien planet. Their hive mind resembles communism, and he considers it the duty of Earth's military to stamp out that ideology, regardless of where it may be found.
It's an ugly planet! A bug planet!
That was about all the information Paul Verhoeven had when he signed on to direct the 1997 film adaptation. Like many others of a liberal bent, the book made him bored and depressed. It is regarded by many as a fascist dystopia, since only veterans have the right to vote, although Heinlein, as a libertarian, would never have supported the merging of corporations with the state. "It is really quite a bad book," he said. "I asked Ed Neumeyer to tell me the story, because I just couldn't read the thing. It's a very right-wing book." Despite hating the ideology, he wanted to see it lampooned on screen. So the question I'm asking today is, how did he do it with so little information? The answer is simple. He focused on its premise. Gone are the impassioned speeches about quelling foreign ideologies. The war is portrayed as senseless and futile, a parody of bloodlust and the tendency to fire weapons rather than live and let live. All it achieves are countless deaths, and we only get a happy ending because right-wing propaganda convinces the characters that it was all for the best. Everything else he needed to flesh out his film could be taken from other sources. He was clearly an avid reader of science fiction, having previously adapted We Can Remember It For You wholesale as Total Recall, and created RoboCop. Much of the story seems to have been taken from The Forever War by Joe Haldeman, which was inspired by Starship Troopers, but instead of glorifying war, it is turned into a depressing farce. Haldeman also explores the future of free love and gender dynamics. A deleted scene from Starship Troopers, in which cadets infamously shower together, might have been lifted straight from The Forever War. In Ender's Game, the soldiers are similarly duped into committing genocide without realizing it, and the mechanized suits in the novel also come from Star Wars and Iron Man. Additionally, Verhoeven's depiction of the bug world seems to have been lifted from Dune. The soldiers go into war in a featureless desert, in which bugs rise against them from underground. The films Verhoeven describes as an influence have mostly been Nazi propaganda. The first scene of the film, an advertisement for the mobile infantry, was adapted shot for shot from a scene in Leni Riefenstahl's Triumph of the Will. Other references to Nazism in the movie include the Wehrmacht-inspired uniforms and the insignia of field-grade officers. The soldiers' clothing resembles those of Mussolini's black shirts, and the propagandistic speech is presented as something Joseph Goebbels might have broadcast. The best example of this comes from Johnny Rico's teacher.
"Force, my friends, is violence, the supreme authority from which all other authority is derived."
Paul Verhoeven, who grew up in the German-occupied Netherlands, was once asked why he was doing a right-wing fascist movie, to which he answered, "If I tell the world that a right-wing fascist way of doing things doesn't work, no one will listen to me. So I'm going to make a perfect fascist world. Everything is beautiful, everything is shiny, everything is big guns and fancy ships, but it's only good for killing bugs."
It's afraid. It's afraid!